Hey everybody, Jeff Antoniuk here. Welcome to Digging Deeper Jazz. All right, so today I want to talk about endless creativity, how you can find that, and a way to understand how all of our heroes seem to have this endless creativity. This is going to be actually pretty powerful. I'm going to give you some real tangible steps forward, but it's a real way to conceptualize our practice. And I'm giving away a free membership to JazzWire.net. So hang on for a second and I'll talk to you about that. I want to get you inside JazzWire, free giveaway. Okay, so this concept of think about any amazing musician. It could be an amazing athlete, but I tell you what, let's stay with jazz since that's what we're here to talk about. It seems like they're endlessly creative. It seems like there's no end to the licks and the ideas and the technique and the vision and it's sort of astounding. And how could we assume we could never get there. And what would be the path? It's impossible. And we just assume it's God-given talent or whatever. There's a better way to look at it. There's a very tangible way to look at it. And I really heard this from a good friend of mine, Paul Bollenback. Paul is one of the top guitar players in the world in New York City. Has played with everybody from Joey DeFrancesco to Jeff Watts and a million others. And I love teaching with Paul. He's a fantastic teacher. I love playing with Paul when I get to do that. We did Maryland Summer Jazz together over the years. He's going to be doing Maryland Winter Jazz with us coming up. I'll let you know about that. And so I was in a conversation with Paul about, a question like this, like, man, how do you sound so great on this stuff? And the way I remember him answering was like, well, I like to have 10 ways to deal with a particular situation. 10 ways. Interesting. So a 2-5-1. What are 10 ways I can deal with that melodically? Or he comps on the guitar. What are 10 ways to comp through a 2-5-1? Or a bossa nova. What are 10 ways to accompany on a bossa nova if you're a drummer? Or playing a fast tempo. What are 10 approach? You get the idea. Now, is that number rock solid 10? I don't think so, right? But when you think about that, what you do for a living, you're a tax attorney. Do you have 10 ways to take that deduction? You're a professional football player. Do you have 10 ways to run the ball down the field? You've got the ball, you see what's in front of you. Do you have 10 choices? That is an amazing player, an amazing attorney. You get the idea, right? So it's that right there. And so we're going to go through, I'm going to do a bunch of playing for you right away and play some examples, but just that framework that it's not infinite. Okay, let me talk to you about the JazzWire giveaway really quickly. So we've done this before, and we did this about a year ago. Got a fantastic music teacher, as it turned out, I think from New York State. Anyway, very cool. I would love to have you do this. So it's a $375 value. You come into JazzWire, I'm going to evaluate your playing, give you a 6-month practice plan, and now you're part of this community. Adult musicians from all around the world like you, hundreds of us doing this work. It's really an incredible place. All you need to do is send me an email, diggingdeeperjazz@gmail.com. Let me know your name. Of course, I'm going to have your email address from there. What instrument do you play? How long have you been playing? The length doesn't really matter at all. None of this is in the deciding factor. We're just going to be doing a random drawing. And I'd love to know if there are some topics you'd like covered here at Digging Deeper Jazz. This is a great way for us to get a conversation going. So write me. Last time, a couple hundred applications maybe. Send in an email, and on October 25th, so by October 25th, and the next Digging Deeper, I'll be announcing it. So have that in by October 25th. You've got a couple weeks, and I hope you win. Okay, so let's look at this now. So the PDF that I put together, this will be a good PDF for you to have because it's got some ideas that I have. So our example today is going to be playing 2-5-1s. Okay, so you see the example on the sheet, a 2-5-1 in the key of C major. Now, what are some different ways we can play through that as a melodic soloist? So I have a list right there that you can see, some different ideas. Is this a complete list? Is this the list? Is this the, no. This is stuff that I thought about and wrote down. I could have written down another 20 ideas. I'm sure you've got some good ones. So let me play some examples for you. And here's what I hope. I'm going to play you 10 different examples of a 2-5-1, and I hope you hear that each one sounds a little different than the other. So if I have some level of mastery over these 10 approaches, I've got these, really different ways of sounding on a 2-5-1. Can you combine approaches? Of course you can. So this gets really endless. And of course, that's the title of what we're talking about, endless creativity. 10 things. If you have 10 things, you're good. So what I'm going to do is play the 2-5-1 progression. I'm just going to loop that, 4 measures. And what I'm going to do is play one of the approaches, and I'll do that twice through for 8 measures. So one approach for 8 measures, then I'll do the second approach for 8 measures, the third approach for 8 measures. So let's check this out, see if you can hear the difference. Three approaches. First one, I played diatonic. In other words, I wasn't thinking about chords. I wasn't thinking about nothing. I was thinking about C major. Can I play a nice melody in C major? Cool. The next one, I used only notes from the C major scale still, but I was sorting them out using chord tones. So I think you found that my improvisation, maybe it was less melodic, but it was more, maybe it was more vertical sounding, more arpeggios. Maybe it sounded more like bebop or something like that. It was more inside the chords. I was making the changes. The third approach, I started using some lower neighbor tones, those chord tones and some lower neighbors. So all of a sudden there was some chromaticism there. So I hope you heard that those 3 approaches sounded totally different. And what did I change? Did I change my mouthpiece? Did I push different buttons on the saxophone? No, I changed my mind. That's what I changed. So these approaches, now of course, what we arm our mind with is the important right. That's the work that gets done. Have I done work on these 3 approaches? Tons of work on all 3. So that allowed me to do it. But that is what a pro does, is they have these different approaches and they can move between them. Sometimes it's conscious, but sometimes it's totally subconscious. It's all mixing together. Okay, so let me try 3 more approaches for you. Okay, 3 more approaches. So the first one was enclosures, related to lower neighbors, but its own thing. Next one, well, let me stop there. Enclosures. That was item number whatever on the sheet, number 4 on the sheet. There are 500 subcategories of that one thing. So are these 10 items just 10 items? No, every one of them infinitely branches out. That's the endless and the creative part of it. Cool. We had enclosures. Next one, I played a Charlie Parker lick. I know. It could be any lick by anybody. Again, that one right there, that item on the sheet, expands infinitely as you build your vocabulary. Cool. Next one I did was a tritone substitute, something we've talked about here at Digging Deeper Jazz. We talk about constantly inside jazzwire.net. Tritone subs. And again, the vocabulary or licks or approaches we can take to a tritone sub. But what I'm going to say is those 3 sounded totally different. Rewind the video. Check it out. Listen to the first 6. I've done 6 approaches now to this 2-5-1. They all have a real vibe and they have strengths. And one's more melodic, one's more outside, one's more interesting, one's more historic, one's more challenging. That's what a pro does. They have all of this on their palette ready to go. Let's do the next 3. right, so 3 more challenging sounds. The first one was tritone subbing the 2 chord. Yep, that's the thing. So I started out with tension at the beginning and then brought it more inside. That's kind of the vibe with at least the way I think about a tritone sub on a 2 chord. So then we did triad pairs. Again, almost endless what we can do with triad pairs. The last one I did was something I've been working on, a particular scale that some people call the Coltrane Minor Pentatonic, and blah, 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 something I'm working on. Doesn't matter if you know what it is, it had a sound. It had a vibe. I thought differently, so I played different stuff. You get the idea, right? So however many approaches you have to something, it's just this idea of add one more. It goes quickly. It's not infinite. You don't have to learn an infinite number of things. Learn 10 things. This is the way to do it. Let me do one last example here for you, which is playing free. That's a great way. Tricky, but let me see if I can play free. I'm not thinking about any tone centers, anything. I'm going to play a free melody over it. Let's give it a try. All right, I just wanted to do some free playing on the internet and just see what happened. Okay, so you understand. So I hope this really makes you understand when you see amazing achievement out there, whether it's with jazz or with whatever else. 10 things. Maybe the number is 6, maybe the number is 12. It is not infinite things, infinitely hard. It's not that. Have one approach. Maybe you have no approaches right now. You're going to start with 1. Maybe you have 3. You're going to add a 4th. Okay. And this is where a good coach or mentor comes in. You could kind of like randomly add approaches, and there's nothing wrong with that exactly. But of course, you could be going down an inopportune path, down a blind alley, right? So when you have a coach, they can listen to you and say, for where you're at today, I strongly suggest this. And that's why you're entering the JazzWire contest. You guys, thank you for tuning in here. Hope you found this valuable. I'll see you next time.